So, many times we hear about glories of Ekadashi, but it's good to know that each Ekadashi have their specialties. So, it's good to know also what's the specialty of this Ekadashi. Of course, on our own, we'll never know. We won't even know what's the actual glories of Ekadashi, not for Vaishnavas and our Guru Varga and the Shastras. They're all revealing all these things. So, in Padma Purana, in chapter 24, there's a whole chapter of this Ekadashi, Varuthini. So, Varuthini, the word Varuthini, and that's for male, and Varuthini is female. Varuthini or Varuthin means a protector. That's what it means. Varuthini. So this Ekadashi is a protector. Also a shield or an armor, like the soldiers wear, it's also called Varuthini. Like this. So, and the armies themselves, the men they're called Varuthini and the female Varuthini. So this Ekadashi is like a protector. So generally we know when you talk about Ekadashi is like a nurse. Or like our Bhakti Thakur said, Maratiti Bhakti Janani. Janani, the mother of Bhakti. And why? Because just doing this vrata, so much pious result is there that definitely this will lead you to bhakti. If you have not, if you have not entered bhakti, then definitely it will bring you entrance to bhakti. And for those already in bhakti, then this following Ekadashi is it's already itself bhakti. It's a limb of bhakti. So, so many times we explained this, we mentioned this, that Ekadashi Tithi is Krishna himself. That's why it's called Madhav Tithi. This Tithi is Madhav himself. It's also called Harivasar. Harivasar. Harivasara means this is the time where Hari himself is residing. So Hari has many manifestations, right? We know Bhagavan has many manifestations. So he manifests in different forms. He has avatars, directly, like different personalities avatars. But he also can manifest himself in a form of a rock, in a form of a rock, of a Shila, like this. In a form of a picture. It can be anything. In a form of then in a form of time. Of course, we know Bhagavan is also time. And so this Ekadashi Tithi, so this, when I say Madhav Tithi, that time itself is directly Bhagavan. And therefore, when this time comes, then whoever honors this time, then it's very auspicious. He comes mainly for auspiciousness. Like Bhagavan, he comes, he descends as an avatar. Why? One is he himself wants to enjoy certain pastime. At the same time, he provides like protection to his devotees. Like when he comes, then generally he manifests his vatsalya or his mood of affection to his devotees. And at the same time, later on, having these pastimes, anyone who hears these pastimes, then they also will develop some attraction. They will become purified like this. So Bhagavan also comes as time. So in a month, he comes as this Ekadashi Tithi. And therefore it's called Madhav Tithi. His appearance day is also Madhav Tithi, Janmashtami, Ramnavami, all these are all Madhav Tithi. But we say Ekadashi is so much more merciful because in a month coming 2 times, and the other only once a year. So therefore, gladly the devotees, they welcome this time, and what they do, they follow Vrata. So in Padma Purana, chapter 24, we can read quickly this one. Let's try to finish in 30 minutes, and then the rest we can continue with our Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Already a few days we have not read. That is our daily dose of nectar. So, in chapter 24 in Padma Purana, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he asked Krishna, what is the name of the Ekadashi in this dark half of the month of Vaishak? Now is Vaishak month, no? So he's telling him, tell me the speciality, the importance of this Ekadashi. Because he glorifying Vasudeva, he glorifying Krishna. So then Krishna said, O king, this Ekadashi named Varuthini. So we already explained Varuthini. Varuthini means? I just explained like a whole how many minutes. What is Varuthini? You forget.
No, this second one.
Yeah, Varuthini means protector, like soldier. Varuthini is male, Varuthini female. Okay, so like soldier, protector. So he said, this Ekadashi named Varuthini, that falls in the dark half of the Vaishak, gives grandeur in this and in this life and in the next. He's saying it gives good fortune, great fortune to the jivas in this life, not only in this life, but also in the next. Due to the Varuthini vow, meaning following Vrata on this, happiness always results, and sins are destroyed, and good fortune is obtained. This is Krishna himself directly telling. He said, definitely result will be you'll be happy, all your sins will be destroyed, and so good fortune, you'll attain good fortune. Who will not like this? An unfortunate woman who observes this vow obtains good fortune. This gives pleasure and salvation to all the people. Not only giving pleasure, but salvation. So actually, those mostly people that are not interested in bhakti. He's not even talking about bhakti here. He's just talking mukti. There you go. You have pleasure and salvation like this. So it removes all of the sins of people and cuts off their possibility for rebirth. Due to the Varuthini vow, meaning this following Vrata, this Ekadashi Vrata, he said kings like Mandatri went to heaven, so also many other kings like Dundumar. He said Lord Shiva also became free from his aparat by following this. I don't really know exactly the last time for this. Something about Lord Shiva committing sin against Lord Brahma. He said, one who serves the vow of Varuthini gets the fruit equal, generally karmis, they want to calculate fruits, so that's why Krishna has to encourage like this. We have to understand. Sometimes you say, nothing, that's not for us, it's for karmis. But generally you tell people, you have to understand, first you attract, everyone, encourage. And ultimately, this is auspicious. Later on then they'll understand, how precious this devotion. And this is the real will of life. But before that, then you have to attract them with all this. These are actually even just side effects following Ekadashi. Because the real effect of Ekadashi is that Ekadashi can give you praying. Really. And that's really how much you want. You know? Like this. So, he said, one who observes the vow of this Varuthini gets the fruit, so now he's telling, equal to that obtained by those who give lots of gold during the eclipse, on an eclipse in Kurukshetra. You know, there's a very famous tradition that on an eclipse, then that's the best time for giving charity. And why do you do that? Because it's actually how do you call this? Prescribed in scripture. This is very auspicious. This will result in so much punya, pious credit. And even Krishna, they did like this, there was a solar eclipse, and Krishna went to Kurukshetra. And because of that, the Vrishvasi also, they came there and they were able to meet Krishna. So we said, the man with faith who observes the vow of Varuthini gets his desired object in this world and in the next. Okay? You will fulfill all your desires for this life now and also for the next. Unfortunately, that's how far they can desire. They want to go to heaven. Mostly karmics, they're like that. And easily this can give. And those who want liberation, easily also this can give. But those who want praying also can give. May not immediately. Huh? Yes. Not very easy. Okay, so it gives them pleasure and salvation. It says, O best of kings, to those who observe it, it is pure and purifying. It destroys great sins. It gives them pleasures and salvation. O king, then he's saying, giving in charity some elephants is superior to giving horses as charity. He's comparing. Okay, so you give horses, now no one can even give horses. But yes, that's very good. But more than that, giving elephants in charity. But he said, superior to that, superior to giving elephants is giving land. Giving land. Then, superior to giving land or donating land is giving or a charity sesame seeds. So this this Akshay Tritiya, you give sesame seeds like this. That is more than giving land. Okay. Why? Because in land you have to plant. You have to plant to make food. But already you gave the fruit from this land, the sesame seeds. So that's superior. Then what? Then he said, superior even to giving sesame seeds is giving of gold. Gold. And superior to that is donating food, giving food in charity. And superior to that, is that there was not, or nor there will be a greater gift than food in charity, giving food in charity. By means of food, the mains, gods, and men are satisfied. O best of king, he said, giving one's daughter in marriage to a qualified person is said by the wise to be is said to be better than that, than giving food in charity. And he said equal to that is giving a cow. So he's telling all this like different. If you want to have all this punya, like pious credit, and you give charity, and there's all this like equivalent, which is better. But he said, of all the gifts that have been mentioned, as like those charitable gifts, he said of all the gifts that has been mentioned, giving knowledge is the best. Giving knowledge to the ignorant, is the best. A man but he said, a man by observing Varuthini Ekadashi Vrata gets a fruit equal to giving charity in all of that. So all, from giving horses, giving elephant, cows, giving your daughter, or some giving education, giving food. So all of that, if you follow just this Ekadashi Vrata for Varuthini, then it will get the fruit equal to all of that. Those men who deluded by sin, so now he's talking about some people. He said they sell their daughters. He said deluded by sin. They subsist on the money from selling their daughters. And by this they lose their religious merit and go to hell full of torments. He said they will rot in hell until the end of annihilation. Until the time of annihilation. He said. And there's people like that, like they sell their kids. He said, therefore, with all care, he said, yes, therefore, like, be very careful, parents should very carefully, like, avoid, like, using their kids for their own use. He said, O Lord of Kings, he who through greed takes money for offering his daughter in marriage certainly becomes or takes birth as a cat in his next life. And even Chitragupta, but, O King, even Chitragupta cannot measure the religious merit, the pious credit of someone who gives his daughter fully decorated in marriage to someone who is qualified. So that is like very biased. And he said, someone following Ekadashi, this Varuthini, then gets the fruit equal to all these pious activities. This language is very easy, very difficult to read. So then, after that, what did he say? He said, O best of kings, any householder who takes his daughter's wealth out of greed, tries to sell his daughter or takes money from a man to whom he has given his daughter in marriage, becomes a lowly cat in his next life. Therefore it is said that whoever, as a sacred act of charity, gives away in marriage a maiden decorated with various ornaments, and who also gives a dowry with her, obtains merit that cannot be described even by Chitragupta, the chief secretary of Yamaraj. You know Chitragupta. That very same merit, however, can be easily achieved by one who fasts on the Varuthini Ekadashi. So then now Krishna started telling him, how do you observe fasting for this fast? He said the following things should be given up on the Dashami. So even from the Dashami. So like, you know, if you read about like in the Ekadashi Mahatmya book, it's talking about the different Ekadashi. Not all like rules are, like specific rules are actually given on certain Ekadashi. Krishna explains. But on this Ekadashi, he explains like this. He said that, okay, from the Dashami, then this thing should be avoided. Dashami meaning the 10th moon. So, he said, that's the day before Ekadashi. He said, 1, eating on bell metal plates. Now nobody uses bell metal plates. You know, this is a certain type of metal. It's like, these are the type of metal like kings and great personalities they use. So on even the day before Vrata, then don't use this kind of plate. Eating any kind of urad dal, eating red lentils, eating chickpeas, eating bundo. What is this? What's a bundo? Here they describe it as primarily eaten by poor people that resembles poppy seeds or agarpanthus seeds, spinach, honey, that you avoid already from the Dasami, saying. And he said, eating in another person's house, eating more than once, and participating in sex of any kind. So he said, Krishna taught like this, from Dasami, you avoid this already. Like this. Then on Ekadashi itself, one should give up the following: gambling, sports. Okay, on Ekadashi, you give up sports. Sleeping during the daytime. So sports, and I think that includes any other types of game. But you know, that's like, because you can do computer game, and that's like sports already. You know, you're king and whatever you do. So, sleeping during the daytime, betel nuts, and its leaf, brushing one's teeth. So these are to be avoided on Ekadashi. Yeah? This is brushing one's teeth, spreading rumors. Spreading rumors. Like rumors, you understand rumors? No? Fault finding, talking to the spiritually fallen, meaning like materialistic people, like bad influence, talking to them. Regardless, avoid that. Talking to spiritually fallen, also anger and lying. So on Ekadashi, you cannot be angry and you cannot tell a lie. So avoid this. So this is part of the Vrata. So on the Dwadashi, the day after Ekadashi, see, one should give up the following. So what are they? Eating on brown metal plates. Now why on Ekadashi this is not mentioned, eating on brown, because you're not supposed to eat. But in case you're gonna eat, then also don't eat on brown metal plates. Then it will break your vrata. So eating on brown metal plates, eating urad dal, red lentils, or honey, lying, strenuous exercise or labor. This is just practical. You just fasted. So you avoid doing strenuous exercise. You don't do your jogging on the running machine on this day. Then eating more than once. Any sexual activity, shaving the body or head, the face or head, smearing oils on one's body, and eating in another's home. So that is also on the day after Ekadashi. These are to be avoided. So this is Krishna directly telling from the Purana. So Lord Shri Krishna continued, whoever observes the Varuthini Ekadashi in this way becomes free from all sinful reactions. He said, all sinful reactions, you'll be free from all of them, and returns to the eternal spiritual abode. One who worships Lord Janardhan on this Ekadashi by staying awake throughout the entire night also becomes free from all his previous sins and attains to the spiritual abode. Like this is not an empty promise. Krishna and to think about it, that's all you need to do. Oh, you want to go back? You want to go to Vaikuntha? Like this? All you need to do, just for this time of the day, don't eat and don't sleep. Like this. So, and of course, because if you read Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's also all these scriptural quotes, what to do, because like I said, you may not sleep, but then during that time you're engaged in criticizing others, or you're engaged in enjoying in a materialistic way with someone else, like that. Meaning you're not thinking of Krishna, you're not following that activity in a devotional mode. It's useless also. It will not lead you to what you desire. Like this. So ultimately, these are like in our Chaitanya Shikshamrita, it says there are secondary rules as assistant to the main rule. So these are all secondary rules actually, which are helpful for the main rule. And what is our main rule? Just be absorbed in Krishna, remembrance of Krishna, serving Him. Okay, so then it says, Krishna said, therefore, O king, he who is frightened of his accumulated sins and their attendant reactions, and thus of death itself, must observe Varuthini Ekadashi by fasting very strictly. And many people are like that. Everyone's afraid of death, really. Especially if you have no association with devotees, you're materialist, so afraid of death. And especially if you know you have very sinful life, and it's quite expected already, like I'm really going to hell. So fearful. And here's the solution. Krishna said, just do this, you'll be free from all these sins. Therefore, O king, said finally, O noble Yudhisthira, he who hears or reads this glorification of the sacred Varuthini Ekadashi obtains the merit earned by donating 1,000 cows in charity. So we just donated 1,000 cows in charity, because we heard. So like someone who just hear or read about this glorification of Varuthini Ekadashi, they will have the highest credit of same as like someone donating 1,000 cows in charity. This is even so difficult to do. Who can donate even 10 cows or 100 cows or 1,000 cows in charity? And at last, he returns home to the supreme abode of the Supreme Lord. So, that is our Ekadashi Vrata today. Actually, yesterday, Ekadashi is Ekadashi Tithi. But because Dasami is still, it's mixed, no? It's probably that. We have explained that before. On the day when, during Brahma Muhurta time, Dasami is still there. Then we don't follow Vrata on that day for Ekadashi. That's what we follow today. Today already Ekadashi. And some are followed yesterday because by calculation, yesterday was not also Purvavida according to their calculation. And that's why we're explaining that there's actually two kinds of calculation. As far as like calculating the tithis, there's two methods. There's the Visuddha Siddhanta or the Drik Siddhanta method. And there's the Surya Siddhanta. Like this. So we've been following since Prabhupada time. Prabhupada he himself has a book, Surya Siddhanta. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he was always he was following Surya Siddhanta. And so then like from Chaitanya Maths and many other maths, they're all following. Up to now, we're following the Surya computation by Surya Siddhanta. But the other one, Visuddha Siddhanta, this is like another system which is an attempt to, like they say, oh, there's some faults in the Surya Siddhanta calculation, and they're trying to like fix it. So this is like a modern type. So this is followed by like in this one they follow this. Some Gaudiamats also, because they follow now, they made some computer program but using this calculation. So some also they follow this, and therefore the result is different tithis, different timings of tithis. Like for this Varuthini Ekadashi, for according to Vishuddha Siddhanta calculation, it started like almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So that means during Brahma Muhurta time, like only Ekadashi was there. So therefore, it's proper to follow Ekadashi that day, like yesterday. But according to Surya Siddhanta, the Ekadashi started like almost 4 o'clock, almost like 3:50, 3:48 or something in the morning. Yeah, like this. So sunrise in Mayapur was like 5:07 or 5:06. So then 1 hour 36 minutes before that, that's start of Brahma Muhurta. That means 3:30, or 3:31. So then Ekadashi started 3:40 something. That means from 3:30 to 3:40 something, that's Dasami. And therefore, there's a Vidha, there's mix. And that's why, according to rule, if there's mix, we don't follow the Vrata on that day. That's why today we follow the Vrata. So that's only happening because that is by Surya Siddhanta calculation. So there's some difference of calendars only because of that. Like whatever their method of calculating, like this. So we have our pure bhakti calendar. They're following the same as this Vishuddha Siddhanta. They're not the Surya Siddhanta, like this. So therefore they say that yesterday was Ekadashi. So it's mainly, that's the cause of the difference. So either way, whatever people they follow, as long as they follow something, and main thing they follow under Anugatya of certain Vaishnavas, they're protected. So,
Yesterday sunrise at Karunya was 5:45. 5:45. They are getting 126 minutes back. Ekadashi was present.
The thing also is, like here, we follow by Mayapur calculation also. That's why like we stick to this. Sometimes in Vrindavan, then it's already. It's not Purva because in Vrindavan sunrise is late, like that. But like we always say, like where Vaishnav is encouraging that we are in Navadvip, and really you cannot enter Vrindavan if not for mercy of Navadvip. Like this. So we always say we're Mahaprabhu family. Our sunrise is Navadvip sunrise. Like this. So that's how we follow the calculation according to the Mayapur calendar, sunrise in Mayapur. So that's why today we're doing our Vrata.
And you said, where is our mind is fine. Where is our mind?
Main thing like this. And look, if like today we just read about Krishna telling this rule. He said fast for 3 days. The day before already start your fasting, and not eating only once. But of course on the Ekadashi then complete the next day only once. And So it's a 3-day fasting. If you follow that, then also whatever like this, there's some controversy, then you're safe still. Also in Ali Bhaktivinoda, it also tells that when there's some controversy as far as like you're not sure like what is the proper, because there's then do on the Ekadashi. It actually tells you do on the Ekadashi. Anyway, main thing is you follow Brata nicely and do it like as your sadhana for attaining your your desired goal. And it should not be that sometimes you follow your sadhana, then you're in that mood that like I'm so good, and then you start criticizing others. They don't follow as good as me like this, So ultimately, why are we following all this brata? Because they help us to attain our eternally perfect mood. Bhakti is from the heart of the eternal association of Radha Krishna, Vrindavan. Those eternal, like perfect moods, the Nityasiddha Bhavs in Goloka Vrindavan, those associates, the pure servants of Radha Krishna, the pure associates, we want to have this same kind of mood. So all this brata that we're doing is all there, and all our sadhana, all our activities here are there to train us, to help build all this impression, all these sanskars, how to be a pure servant. And following this, then they're supposed to help us attain all these modes. Like that. So then, like you become humble, you become pure, and like so much of devotional like moods are happening. So it will not help, and really, you should see, if following these things, you can analyze, am I closer to this Nityasiddha Bhavs that I'm trying to attain? Like this. So if you become like that, you're proud and judging and others like that, then it just shows that how far you are from attaining your goal. How far. Not only because this is kind of like symptom of someone who's praying. They naturally become humble. And someone doing sadhana, naturally they become humble. Like this. They will not be in this mood fighting with everyone. I am correct and you are wrong, and this is it has to be like this and like that. No. But in that mood that I'm actually so, I'm actually worthless. I'm just a hopeless, a mercy case actually. I'm only here because of mercy of the Vaishnavas, and I'm just like a dog. I follow what the Vaishnavas are doing, and maybe by their mercy I can become an actual devotee. But I'm not a devotee like that. Very humble, and then you doing all these activities without all this, how do you call it? All this contamination of pride and righteousness. We are right like this. So, like this. Now I'm very familiar.
I heard that medicines and for example medical oils or balms that are not included on breaking Ekadashi.
There's in some scriptural injunctions that medicines, they don't break brata. Not just that. These are the five ingredients from the cows. They don't break the brata. What are they? There's milk, yogurt, ghee, cow urine, and cow dung. You can eat cow dung. It will not break your brata. And also the order of the devotee. The order of the devotee. Let's say you want to follow strictly and your job, like this. And your guru tell you, hey, you eat. You cannot say oh brother, I want to follow like this. No, Guru telling you, otherwise it will be Guru Avagya. And there's a purpose, there may be a purpose why Guru can see. Sometimes devotees, they have insight. And so Guru said, hey, you have to eat like this. So then you're eating, but that it does not break your breath. It's still like very job for you. Because you're following. Like this.
He says, oh, this is net. Looking at the road. He never said, yes, it is net. It is road. It is road. Never says, when Guru says something, it's not
So, like that. But of course, that is if your guru is qualified, because anyone can also just say, they may not be qualified guru. And generally, they eat, but they may say eat, but not eating grains. You will never find like within our like Guru Varga encouraging someone to eat grains on Ekadashi. Because you can still eat and not eat grains, like this. And Mahaprabhu was showing example. Like even Jagannath Mahaprasad, because in Jagannath Puri, many they don't follow Ekadashi. Because like why observing, why fasting when Jagannath Prasad is here? Jagannath Prasad is like mercy of Jagannath and purifies everything. Why reject that? And it's an actual etiquette. If you're offered Jagannath, you have to accept. Like this. Otherwise, it's offense to the prasad. So then this Jagannath Pandas, during the time of Mahaprabhu, then let's see how Mahaprabhu will behave. So then they're having kirtan at night, then they're sending so much Jagannath Mahaprasad. So then they have to eat this, But then what happened? Mahaprabhu was showing example. Actually, they did. What they did parikrama around the prasadam and glorifying prasadam, reciting verses of prasadam and kirtan, like this, until the next day. And the next day, then they partake the prasadam. So Mahaprabhu was still showing, they never break this principle. Because on this day, he said that sin is residing on the grains of this time. So, like that. Okay.
One question. I heard from one devotee that before Mongol Arti you can take if it's necessary for you, but after Mongol Arti you cannot do it.
The thing is, officially the Vrata starts sunrise. That's when the beginning of the day. But before the sunrise, what is determined for you to follow Vrata on that day is when during the Brown Murta, only Ekadashi is there. There's no Vidya. So generally Vrata starts on the sunrise. And that means before that, water. But it's technically like your day starts when you wake up,
Yes, this devotee was telling me like for devotees they start when the deities wake up, so Mongol Arti is that time. So before that is...
Yeah, usually Mangalarti is even before sunrise.
Yes.
And especially if you wake up so early also to chant around, it's not yet. So then, it's part of that religious excitement. Okay, so now we have no more time it's already 11:30. Unless Pujari is not ready. 10 minutes. Okay, then we can read 10 minutes. At least some nectar. Like already when there is no Chaitanya Shikshamrita. So we read a few things, or at least the review, because already many days passed and we have not read our daily nectar, Chaitanya Shikshamrita. We are now in what chapter? Remember? Which one? Third. The third shower now. And what is it about? Sinful activities. That's before. You're like because we already finished that chapter. the second chapter was about secondary rules. No, the secondary rules. Because now we are entering into the main rule. In bhakti proper. You know, and when you say rule, that means Vaidhi. So now we're entering Vaidhi Bhakti now. So that's the third chapter. But before that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur started with secondary rules. Meaning some rules that may assist in your actual following of the main rule, Bhakti. So, what are those secondary rules? There are three kinds. Remember, forget. Three kinds of secondary rules. There's the Jananishta Vidhi. Jananishta Vidhi meaning individual. Some rules pertaining to individual, meaning for you alone. And the other one is Samaj Nishta Vidhi, pertaining to collective individuals, meaning society, the group. And third one is Paralok. Not necessarily divine. When we say Paralok, meaning beyond this world, meaning beyond this lifetime. So that means these are the rules that determines where you're gonna go after this life. Whether you go to heaven or you go to hell or you can go to Vaikuntha, like this. So that means these rules pertain to consideration of what? Like punya and pap, you know, like, pious activities, pious credit, and sinful activities. So there's all these recommended activities that can result in accumulation of the pious credit. You remember that? How many are there? 10, no? Or 14? 10. Like, what are they? Forget now. It starts with helping others, then respect for elders, seniors, then charity, and
building fountains and water places.
that's part of charity. There's like how many kinds of charity are there? Yeah, you have to remember this. Like there's many. And then in the discussion of things that can lead you to hell, any sinful activities, how many are there? 11. Huh? Yeah, so all this we discussed and we finished that already. And we already started with the last, we already started with the third chapter last time. So, you remember what this is all about? Then we're talking about there are, because it's talking about religion now. Principles of religion mainly is that they came from scriptural injunctions. When you say, and really all of them are scriptural injunctions. The principles of Dharma. Okay? And there are two types. So, like, if they're not prescribed by scriptures, you cannot really call them part of this principle of religion. So, they're all like injunction, prescribed by scriptures. And it's two kinds. You remember? There's Arctic and Paramartic. And remember last time we have all these different terms. Okay, so we'll try to review now. Because we just used today as review. Arctic and Paramartic. So Arctic referring to? Motivated for material fruits. Meaning Artha only is related to, and mainly related to what? Three varga. That's why this Arctic Dharma is also known as, how is it called? Trivargik. Trivargik Vaida Dharma. Because three things. What are they? Dharma Artha Kama, only this. Then, what's the other one? There's Arctic and there's the Paramartic. And Paramartic, referring to actually moksha. Of the four, then moksha. But he said, real moksha is actually not just like liberation as in becoming free from the material world, but actually attaining devotion to the Lord Spirit of Bhagavan. That's real moksha. So, then, so when we talk about the Arctic, that means their goal is material. So material artha. The Paramartic is spiritual. The last point that was pointed out. Okay, so here the section is like, what's the difference between Arctic and Paramartic? Their motives, it says. So the Arctic is motivated for material gain, Paramartic is for spiritual gain. And in the Paramartic Dharma, it says, so it said, sometimes you will see some activities and they appear to be like Paramartic. And you see some are based on morality, that is Naitik, and the other one is by orthodox practice, Smarta. So he said they can do puja, they can do vandana, they also offering prayers, they perform like Sandhya Upasan, and they can do like devotional like adorations for Bhagavan. But he said, in reality, they are not really Paramartic. But really, if we talk about the standards of like bhakti. Why? Because that's the thing. If we look at their motivation, and that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, what is the difference between Arctic Dharma and Paramartic Dharma? Their motivation. If their motivation is for material gain, they may look like Paramartic because they're also worshipping Bhagavan like this. But they are in Arctic, because they're for material gain. So people, they say, doing puja because it is like moral, it's for morality. Only for that purpose it is. It's not really for devotion. So it's in the category of like morality, Naitik. Then it's not really Paramartic. Now, and he said, factually, Smarta is Paramartic because it's supposed to actually aimed towards liberation or moksha, attaining moksha. But some are also just doing that also for material gain. So then it will be considered like Arctic. But when you say Smarta, which is up to like moksha only, then it can be considered Paramartic. But only like that. Only up to there, not really to the standard of like those who are following like devotion. So that's how we ended last meeting, and we continue now. This is very short. So there are two methods of attaining bhakti. Here we should know that there are two methods by which the jiva may attain bhakti. One is by gradual process, and two, by instantaneous process. So what is that? Then it will be explained. So I'm just mentioning this now. So then now we're put in the same position now. Okay, this is how we will start tomorrow. The discussion of two methods of attaining bhakti. One is gradual process, meaning it's a gradual. It's not like abrupt. There's slowly but surely there's gradual process. And the other one, instantaneous process. Instant, like this. So there's a whole discussion on this. Because sometimes it may appear instant. Like someone just arrived and suddenly, like, my God, he's now like quickly advancing. But actually, because we don't see in his past life, he was following very gradual process maybe in his past life before, and now he's just continuing. So you may started today in this life because you never had any, like maybe samsanga with like very high samsanga or like high, like you have not even entered bhakti. Maybe as of now you're just entering bhakti, you're beginning sharanagati, now then shraddha, and artha-nivritti. And someone and maybe you're for 30 years or 40 years, like, oh, you're still you're struggling in that. And someone just maybe arrived like last week, and then now so much ruchi is there, and now like, it seems like he's now like asakti or whatever, So like, what is this? And it could be that in his past life, so much he has done in sadhana, and now it just happened that it's like he just again triggered and it continues. So it appeared instant. Ready? 10 minutes again. Okay. So, until that altar opens, and we can continue. So the different classes of jivas, the devotees are the best. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Rupa Goswami instructions on the path of gradual development in the following manner. So now this is a discussion, so two kinds, right? Gradual and there's instantaneous. So now we're starting with the gradual. So he said Mahaprabhu, he gave instructions to Rupa Goswami as far as the gradual. Where will you find this? In Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita. That means Rupa Shiksha. Tar Madhyesh Havara Jangama Duvidhe Jangameti Jala Sthala Chara Vidhe Tara Madhye Manusya Jati Ati Alpatara Tara Madhye Mreksha Pulinda Bhoda Satara. Jai Sharada Vinod Bihari Guru. Jai. Alright, so then we continue tomorrow this one. Jai Shri Varuthini Ekadashi, Jai